for 911. Do you have an emergency?
Yes, I have an emergency in my apartment. There are people in my house who I don't know, and my purse is suddenly missing, and I'm afraid I'm going to have a robbery here.
Okay, people in your apartment at this time?
Yes.
I'll connect you to the police. Stay on the line.
Hey.
What?
I'm upstairs in a bedroom where they don't know where I am.
Okay, I'll connect you to the police. You can tell them, okay?
So tonight's Who is Your Favorite Case? So to kick off, what is your favorite case? I have a Patreon here, Gwen T. Hi, Gwen T.
Hi, Jay. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for volunteering and being the guinea pig for the What's Your Favorite Case on the Jays for Justice Patreon.
You're welcome. No problem.
Yeah. So Gwen T, just to get to know you a little better, Patreon to Patreon, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Gwen, and I have been in the true crime community probably Michelle Hill and I probably the longest, back from the Chris Watts days. So that's
is
kind
that
of
how long you've been watching Jays for Justice? Wow.
Since the beginning, yes.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being so loyal. That means so much to me. It really does.
You're welcome. Yeah, no problem. So I've been around since the beginning. So I knew you back when you did your first podcast and all that. So
you've seen me improve in time a little bit.
Yeah.
A little.
I've watched your what is it? What's the word I'm thinking of? Like your progression, your metamorphosis over time. Like how you've gotten from point A to where we are now. So.
Well, I thank you for being such a loyal subscriber.
Yes, you're welcome.
And I want to know, what is your favorite true crime case?
So my favorite true crime case is a case, it took place in Ocean City, Maryland. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. There really isn't a name for it, but it's Benjamin and Erika Sifrit. Have you ever heard of that case?
I have not. This is new to me.
All right.
I love it.
So they were a couple. I think they were probably early 20s. He was a Navy SEAL and she was like a high school basketball star. He was a Navy SEAL. He was #1 in his SEAL class. Like he was a total go-getter. Erika went to Mary Washington College in Fredericksburg, Maryland, or Fredericksburg, Virginia. She graduated cum laude. She was a high school basketball.
I never have been able to pronounce that. How do you say that?
It's cum laude, but first I was
you
saying,
said it wrong, I think.
Cum laude. Yeah. No, it's cum laude. Cum laude.
Okay. Well, thanks.
I'm positive.
I've been saying it wrong for forever. So
sorry.
Cum laude. Go ahead.
Cum laude. So I even did the pronunciation on Google with that. So anyway, she went to this school, graduated cum laude. She was a high school basketball star. She had an indoor basketball court at her home. Her father wouldn't let her come in for dinner until she hit 10 free throw shots in a row. And they were, they were very pushy parents. It almost reminded me of Aaron Hernandez. I remember hearing something similar about him. Like his dad would make him do, the same 100 shots before he could come in for dinner, or like Tiger Woods' dad. So that's kind of how she grew up, like perfection. And then she, so while she was in college, they met her senior year of college. They got married after 3 weeks in Las Vegas. And people describe them as kind of the all-American couple. I guess you could say she was attractive. I guess basing it on the fact of what I know that they've done, I look at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, they are repulsive. But I guess if you take away what they, if you just look at them on the surface, I'm sure they look pretty. Sure. Yeah, they look normal. They don't look
like us looking at Ted Bundy and going, if he didn't kill a ton of women, he's pretty dang good looking,
or like Scott Peterson or Chris
I guess the list goes on and on, right?
Richard Ramirez. Anyway, I don't find any of those people attractive, but anyway, so like people were like, they were the all-American couple. They were fit. She was very thin. he was like this tough guy. He was macho, you know, ex-Navy SEAL. However, he did have this big, huge swastika tattoo on his chest, which it's like, why would you have that? I don't know.
That's kind of random.
Yeah, totally random. So after they married, he, you know, he was like this great Navy SEAL. There were even stories of him that he could go out and get completely wasted. Like he would drink till 5 o'clock in the morning and then get an hour's worth of sleep and then get up and run 20 miles and then come in first place.
Wow.
So yeah. So, I mean, I couldn't do that. Even if I didn't drink a bunch of alcohol the night before, but, I need my sleep, you know? So yeah, he was definitely like a machine. Like he was almost like robotic. And I'll get into that a little bit more. So, they married and then she kind of pushed him. She was like very jealous. There's a book about the case that I read. I had a Kindle years ago and I read the book. I have the book written down in my other notes and I can tell you the name of it before we end. But the book went into more detail of like, she had shown up on a trip that he went on with the military and, you know, was very possessive and jealous, thinking that he's always cheating. So, yeah, so she showed up anyway. So he was the star in the Navy, you know, he was a Navy SEAL, the star, and she basically convinced him to get out. She was like, you know, probably, like I said, they were married after 3 weeks. So he went AWOL and was kicked out for being AWOL and then insubordination. So apparently he had probably told an officer or somebody in charge of him, like, no, I'm not doing that. And then he just left. So he was AWOL. So anyway, he was kicked out, got a dishonorable discharge. After he left the Navy, they both moved back to her hometown of Altoona, Pennsylvania. She, you know, she had gone to college on a scholarship for basketball because she was the star basketball player, but she wasn't able to kind of go pro because she was so petite. She was very skinny. She was short. So there was no way she was going to make it in like the, you know, the WNBA. So, so anyway, they moved back to her hometown of Altoona, Pennsylvania. So just keep this in mind, like this Navy SEAL who's got,
and where is Altoona?
I have no idea. Somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
No.
I didn't herb of like
Philly. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know anything about it. So, so they moved to Altoona, Pennsylvania. So just keep that in mind. Like you've got this Navy SEAL who's used to like going out and doing all this dangerous stuff, blowing stuff up, like shooting things and all this adrenaline, jumping out of airplanes. And then he moves to Altoona, Pennsylvania and opens a scrapbook shop with Erika.
Wow.
Yeah.
So his masculinity was like kind of just ripped away, like ripping off a Band-Aid. There went his masculinity.
Yeah.
That's never a good thing.
Right. And this all comes into play. And like, all of it makes sense to me once you kind of peel back the layers of the onion. So yeah, he was pretty much emasculated, I would say. Like you're going to go open a scrapbooking shop in Altoona, Pennsylvania, in some random plaza. I guess her parents had paid for it. So anyway, he's working at the scrapbooking shop with her. They're working at it together. And they start to get an itch for like a little bit of, adventure, because he's got, like I said, he's used to that adrenaline rush. Like he's used to, that, adrenaline of like always doing something on the edge or doing something crazy. And he gets off on that. So they started robbing other businesses in the plaza. And that was like, great and everything. And I guess during that time, she had told investigators later that their sex life was suffering. Like he couldn't even sexually perform because he wasn't getting enough adrenaline. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't like fulfilled in other parts of his life. So he was like almost impotent.
He was unable to.
Yes. So anyway, so she's like, once we started robbing stores, he got his mojo back and we were able to connect and have sex. Yeah, it's very odd. So
is that coming from her after the fact?
She was, so she said that, like,
wow.
And so she's, so then they started doing that and their sex life was okay for a while. And then they had to like up the ante and they had to keep upping it. And I'll get into that. But, so they started robbing the stores. They never got caught. they're breaking into them with like masks and stuff and like stealing money, and it was the thrill.
What year was this, Gwen?
I'm sorry, it was 2002.
Okay.
So it was,
I'm just trying to think of technology at that time. You know, when you say they're breaking in, I'm thinking of, you know, all the cameras.
Yes, yes. So this was, well, I would say this was probably, so the crime happened in Memorial Day weekend of 2002. So this was probably, I would say 2000, probably maybe even before 9/11. I don't know.
And there wasn't really a lot of cameras like there is now.
Right,
And,
right.
I mean, now we have even cameras everywhere.
And think of social media. There wasn't Facebook or like Nextdoor where people could be like, hey, my business just got broken into. Somebody, you know, is anybody else?
We were still kind of in those times where you had to actually talk to your neighbor.
Right.
Find out what was going on. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So they didn't get caught. They broke in and stole money or goods or what?
Everything. So they would just break in. And so then it was kind of probably like a game for them too. Like they were at the scrapbook store and they could watch, you know, the cops coming the next day and kind of all voyeuristically watching it all go down and like, oh, wow, look at that. You know, there's the cops and we did that. Ha ha ha. You know, kind of, so I could see the thrill in that. So I guess that they evolved from that. They started doing drugs. She was, what was it? She was doing, she was obsessed with Xanax. Like she loved Xanax hardcore and other prescription drugs. She also, this is very odd. She becomes oddly obsessed with Hooters. Okay. And Hooters memorabilia. What? So yes, like, okay. So in this, and she was not what, like, I don't know what you call a woman in the chest. Like you say, well endowed. Like she was very flat. She didn't have any. So I don't know why you
had no curves.
No, nothing. I mean, she looked like a little boy. Like her figure was very, you know, very thin, athletic. She was very athletic build, like very petite. So I would say she was probably 5 feet and maybe like 100 pounds, tiny. And
I can see why she couldn't play basketball.
Yeah. So she just, I mean, she could sink 3 points all day, but she just she couldn't compete with those tall girls. So, so anyway, she develops this addiction to Xanax. She becomes obsessed with Hooters and Hooters memorabilia, like obsessed, like it's crazy. It's all over her scrapbooks and everything. In photos, she's all decked out in Hooters tank tops, hoodies. It's very odd to me. I don't know if it's odd to you. Is this
when they were together or?
Yes. So they were like together. They were married and
Did she get a boob job?
No, not at all. Like very flat.
She didn't work at Hooters? I mean,
nothing. It was
Hooters attire.
Yes, and it comes back into place later. But that every documentary I've watched.
Inquiring minds want to know: did she wear the tights? And the crunchy socks and the shorts?
Do they still wear that? I haven't been to Hooters in
years.
They
do.
I haven't seen any
Okay,
Hooters.
I thought maybe there was like this full body shot.
No. She just would wear, and it's like, are you trying to be cool, girl?
It was like she was a fan. Like she was a fan of Hooters.
Yeah, but why are you a fan? It's
like Hooters is cool.
Like, yeah, but why Hooter? I mean, I don't know. It's odd to me. It's very foreign. I can't imagine. Anyway, whatever, different strokes for different folks. So they begin to break into Hooters restaurants and they started stealing the merch. Yeah. So after
maybe that's why she wore it, because it was free.
Perhaps, but I think she had this fetish prior to the break-in. So they were breaking into them. And so then after they quit breaking into places around the scrapbook shop, they started breaking into Hooters. Am I saying Hooters wrong? Weird. I feel like I'm saying Hooters.
Hooters.
Anyway, they had a Hooters. They had a very strong friendship, the two of them. So his name is Benjamin, but so I'm going to refer to him from now on as BJ because that's what they call him in all the shows. But I guess his middle name must be a J. So I'm just going to call him BJ. That's what they call him, BJ Sifrit and Erika Sifrit. So they had a very strong friendship. Like they were like best friends. They were inseparable. They had a very strong sexual chemistry. and they both love to party. They like to drink. They got into cocaine. They obviously loved Xanax. And I mean, the only part was his sexual kind of, he couldn't perform at times until they kind of, so
was there an issue between the two of them because of that?
No, I think she just constantly overcompensated by bringing in something new. Like, okay, so that's what's very interesting to me, is that she was like, okay, let's start robbing this place to get you off. Let's start robbing Hooters. So that's not working. Let's start breaking into Hooters, after hours. And then, so, drinking, cocaine, Xanax. They were always looking for the next thrill. And when the drugs and sex and alcohol weren't working, they had to up the ante. Like I said, they eventually turned to murder. And when they murdered this couple that they murdered, they did it by playing this sadistic game of cat and mouse, which I'll get into in a minute. But so I'll set it up for you. What they did, her parents owned like a timeshare in Ocean City, Maryland. So they were in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and the dad was kind of like a big wig at a bank or something. And so he owned a timeshare, like a penthouse in Ocean City, Maryland. So they were like, okay, we're going to go there for a week. So they go on this week-long vacation to Ocean City in 2002, Memorial Day weekend. Their trip fell over Memorial Day weekend. I think they were probably there prior. They actually met a couple named Joshua Ford and Jeannie Crutchley. Jeannie was in her 50s. Josh was in his 30s. But their friends and family said that they were a great match. They lived together back in Maryland. They were from Maryland, and they came to Ocean City for Memorial Day weekend and just to get away. They met the Sifrits on a shuttle bus that was going to this bar called Secrets, not Secrets, it's Seacrets. So I guess it's like this big bar in Ocean City, and they took this shuttle. They didn't have enough money Erika and BJ got on the shuttle. They didn't have the right change or something. And Joshua Ford said, hey, we'll give you the money, just buy us a drink at the bar. Sounds fair enough, right? Like, I would probably do that. So they get to the bar, and there's this hour-long wait to get in the bar, and they're, standing there talking to the four of them are talking, and they hang out there. They get inside, they sit at a table, they're, drinking, they're dancing, whatever. And BJ and Erika say, hey, let's take the party back to our condo. We have this penthouse. We've got a hot tub, we've got weed, we've got drinks, let's go back and, after party. So they all get back there, and they're continuing the party. They're all in the hot tub and apparently having a nice time. And all of a sudden, Erika gets out of the hot tub and she says, and I guess people in Pennsylvania call purses pocketbooks. And on all the documentaries I was watching, they kept saying pocketbook. So I'm like, what is, so I had to
it's kind of like French room.
Yeah.
Pocketbook.
Pocketbook. So I in my notes I've written pocketbook, but it's a purse. So I guess she was saying like verbatim, where's my pocketbook? And she starts running around the house. She's screaming. She's like, where's my pocketbook? She's crying. So BJ gets out of the hot tub. He gets a .357 Magnum. He points it at Joshua and Jeannie, and he's like, where's the pocketbook? Where is it? And they're like, we don't know. We have no idea what you're talking about. Like, this came out of nowhere. And he's like, take off all your clothes. Prove it that you don't have the purse. Like, what? So they take off all their clothes. And then Erika goes upstairs and calls 911. And she's slurring her words. She's telling the operator, someone's in my condo. They stole my purse, her pocketbook, whatever. And the phone call cuts out. So then the operator transfers her to the police department. I don't know how that happens. It's all on the call. Like it kind of doesn't make sense. But it cuts out before she can actually talk to somebody and they can get the address and everything. So the police never arrive. They never get the address, which is weird to me because I thought if you call, it automatically logs in their system and then they would come out, right? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, if they call you back and you don't answer.
Right.
I thought they automatically made a check.
And didn't that happen back? I mean, that was, so think about it. I mean, that was 18 years ago. Wouldn't that have been going on back then? I don't know. So, or maybe
I would think so. That wasn't, I mean, 2000
yeah,
wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was a
yeah.
long
I
time
remember,
ago. But we had some technology then.
yeah, being a kid in the 90s and calling them,
Mm-hmm.
like as a
We're
joke,
scared to
being
death.
stupid.
Scared to death. They
Yeah.
were going to show up because they
Yes.
would.
Yeah. So I don't understand how that happens unless it's because it was like a hotel. I don't know. So anyway, that's a very odd part of the story to me, that they, she calls and there's an actual 911 call and she's like, I'm scared. These people are in my house or in my condo. I'm scared for my life. I think they stole my purse. So meanwhile, that happens. Josh and Jeannie run into the bathroom naked. They slam the door. And, they're like wanted to hide from these crazy psychos that were threatening them and accusing them of stealing something. So BJ starts to shoot through the door and he keeps missing. So Erika runs outside onto the balcony and looks into the bathroom window and starts telling him where to shoot. She's like, okay, he's up, go shoot to the left. So he's shooting through, so he's shooting through the door. They're moving around. Anyway, he ends up killing Joshua and he's dead. And then he kicks in the door, which I don't understand why he didn't kick in the door in the first place. And Jeannie was hiding under the vanity, like crouching down, hiding and whimpering and begging for her life. He shoots her and he shoots at her, but misses. And then when she's found dead, she's got this huge stab wound to the abdomen. Like right, and that's basically what killed her. So now they have to get rid of these two bodies that are in their bathroom. There's like 100,000 people around Ocean City for this weekend, so they can't really just like carry bodies down the stairs. So they end up dismembering these bodies in the bathroom. And they put body parts in garbage bags and they take them out bag by bag. They go, and then, so they're in Ocean.
I don't know how people can do that. You hear about it so often.
I know. What? No, I don't. Okay, I could see taking dead bodies out in bags. Okay, fine. You're not looking at it. But
the dismembering.
Oh my God, I know. I can't even.
I don't know how people can do that.
I would never get that out of, you'd have to pass the brain bleach. Like, how would you ever get those images out of your mind? Ever?
Right.
I know. Does it go away over time? I don't know. So they dismember them. Then they go out drinking. They're acting like nothing's wrong. They're playing mini golf. They're taking photos. And in one of the photos, after they killed them, Erika is seen wearing Josh's necklace or Josh's ring around her neck. And it's caked with blood. You can even see the blood in the photo.
What?
So it's so sadistic. Yeah. So she's wearing it around like a trophy around her neck. Still had blood on it. And they took all these photos for the scrapbook. They were like trying to, encapsulate this memory into their scrapbook. So so by now friends and coworkers are starting to worry about Josh and Jeannie. They're calling the cops. They didn't show up for work. They go to the hotel that they were staying at. They walk in, nothing's disturbed. It looked like they just basically went to Sifrits because that's what they did. They like there's money still there. There's clothing. There's food in the fridge. They said the car still had sand on it and underneath it, like it hadn't been moved. So they knew that there was probably some kind of foul play. And the one thing that was interesting that I read about was that that people knew something was wrong because she had not missed a day of work in over 20 years. So, I mean, let that sink in. That's crazy for somebody not to miss a day of work.
Yeah, you know something's off.
Yes, I couldn't imagine. So the Ocean City Police Department prints flyers with their photos and they put them all over, they're missing people. And at this time, BJ and Erika are still there. They're still on their vacation. So all these flyers are up all over. The two, they're just like walking around like nothing happened. They're playing, pot, like I said. And they had to go and replace a door. So they had to go to Home Depot because, he had shot through the bathroom door in the penthouse. So they had to go to Home Depot and buy a new door. And there's a photo of him standing outside Home Depot with the door and cleaning supplies to clean up all the blood. And it's like, what were you going to, I mean, that's just, and I saw the picture and it's like, what were you going to do? Put that in your scrapbook and say, you know, like hashtag cleaning. I mean, it just, doesn't that blow your mind?
Yeah. Yes, that
like,
absolutely
yeah,
is
like,
mind-blowing.
yeah, like behind him is Home Depot and like the orange letters, and he's standing there with the door, like posing. And it's like, oh my gosh, what were you going to do that? So they go back, they get their cleaning supplies, they clean up the bathroom, they replace the door. And then what happened, so they're all ready and everything's like, you know, fixed and everything. Well, they go back to, I don't know if it was Sifrits or another bar. They actually found another couple to play this sick, twisted game with. And this couple actually escapes. So that it comes up in trial that, you know, hey, they tried this game with us of the purse and we just left. Like I guess they ran out. The other couple actually escaped before things got weird. And the girl went on to tell investigators that the same weird scenario of Erika suddenly saying her purse was missing. And, you know, they obviously dodged a bullet by getting out of there, literally. So Erika puts in her scrapbook. It shows like, and the weird thing about it is they were getting all of these photos developed while they were there. Like there were actual photos of Josh and Jeannie at the bar with them. And they were like, they were taking time out of their day to go to like CBS or wherever you go to get photos developed. And yeah, and like getting them developed. So she had already like started, so she must have had all of her scrapbook supplies with her, because she had already made a page for the scrapbook that said you know, something about Bonnie and Clyde, and it was like in quotations, and it showed, you know, there's a photo of it, and it's got like them at putt golf with the necklace on and everything. So, you know, they're showing off the souvenirs from the murders, like his ring.
Do you think that she got into this like to get him the thrills, to keep him? Was she like desperate to lose him? Was there any kind of like,
I think so. I mean
I'm trying to figure out what made this girl change
in a couple
so much.
Well, the thing that like, so there were a couple quotes that I wrote down that investigators said, like, one investigator said that, you know, individually that these two were, they probably would have been fine. Like, say he would have married like a librarian, he probably, you know, obviously they probably wouldn't have had sex, but, or he would have gone out and cheated on her. But, you know, they were together, they were combustible. Like someone said that he was a stick of dynamite and she was the match. And then another person said that they were hyperbolic rocket fuel. Alone they were fine, but put together, you know, it was just bang. It was just an explosion. So
crazy,
you know,
how that happens.
Yeah. So I think, you know, there are people like that like you put them together and they are going to,
they just clash.
Explode. Yeah. And they almost, yeah, like almost feed off of each other. But I think you're onto something, because like her making him get out of the military, you know, like going and like stalking him when he's I think it was Alaska. She like showed up and was making sure that he wasn't out fooling around after they were married. And you know, he ended up going AWOL. So I think she was very insecure. She was very young. And I think she wanted to be the cool girl. Like she, with the Hooters and all that, like maybe that's why they frequented Hooters. Maybe they ate there a lot, and he liked to oogle at the women in those outfits. I don't know. And then she thought, okay, I'm going to be cool girl and wear all of the Hooters memorabilia. I cannot say Hooters.
I know you say Hooters.
I know. I feel so weird saying Hooters.
It's just Hooters.
I can't. Okay. Anyway. Hooters.
Say Hoosiers. Say Hoosiers.
Hooters.
No, say Hoosier.
Hoosiers.
Hooters.
Oh
my God. Okay. So anyway, Hooters. So what happened?
I almost sound like an owl. So
You
they
sound like
leave
my fifth grade teacher that was a really old man, and he used to say, instead of white, he said white.
Oh my God, that reminds me of Family Guy. Like, remember how they're always
White.
okay, whatever.
And he also said Florida.
Florida. I don't say
Instead of
that,
Florida,
though.
Florida.
Right. I don't say pop either. I say soda. So they leave Ocean City. They're on their way back to Altoona, right? So they're on their way back
Mm-hmm.
to Altoona, Pennsylvania, and they stop at a Hooters and they break in. It's like middle of the night. They trip a silent alarm and the cops show up like unexpectedly. Like they're coming out with all of this memorabilia and the cops are like, hey, what's up? So Erika gets panicky, starts freaking out, and she's like, oh my God, I need my Xanax. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know, like she's shaking, she's trembling. And so the cop's like, okay, what do you want me to do? You know, and she's like, it's in my purse. Just get it. Just go in my purse and get it. It's right there. And so the cop,
It's in my pocketbook.
it's in my pocketbook. So the cops are like, okay. And I guess there's something, the fruit of the tree or something law where you can, I just remember this from college. Like there's some kind of, if you open a drawer, like if you have a search warrant, you can open a drawer, you see like something else in there, you can take it. It's part of like anyway, so it's kind of like that. Like she gave them permission to go into her purse to get the Xanax, right? So while they're in the purse, they see, they start rifling around and they're like, you know, we're just gonna look around, see what else is in here. And they find the ID cards of Joshua Ford and Jeannie Crutchley. Yes, and 5 spent rounds. So they're
Now,
like,
had those people been reported missing?
yeah, remember the posters were up all
Oh,
over.
yeah. My bad.
Yeah, so what happened was, I guess this cop had just seen one of these posters. So he was just like, you know, why? And it clicked. Like it had just been like an hour before he had seen their missing poster, like be on the lookout, you know? And so he's like, why do you have these? And, I guess they were like, oh, you know, we found them on the beach or something. And they were like, I guess they were drunk too. And they're like, can we just put this stuff back and go home? And they're like, no. So they're like, this is odd that they have these things and these spent shell casings, you know, 5 of them, like bullets that were basically, you know, or no, I think they had the actual bullets, like that were taken out of the bodies. Like they took them out of the bodies and they kept them. Yeah. So, they, you know, they were like, we're taking you down to the booking place or to the station and we're gonna, you know, talk to you there. So they get there and Erika just starts singing like a canary. She's just like, okay, it was all him, he did it. Like she just opens up right away, doesn't get an attorney, she blames it all on him. She played the victim. She's like, you know, I'm scared of him, he's this Navy SEAL, I don't want him to kill me. She says like he made them strip at gunpoint. She was so scared. She was so appalled. This is a crazy thing. So she also tells in her story that this is so messed up and disgusting. She said that she goes upstairs, or she's downstairs crying and whimpering because he's upstairs massacring this couple. And he calls her and he's like, hey, come here. And she said she walked in the room and he had one head, severed head in each hand, and was like, take a picture of me.
What?
Yeah. And it's like, for what? The scrapbook? Like, was he conditioned? Was he so conditioned to be like, take my photo? I don't know. It just blows my mind. So she's like, I don't remember if she took a photo or not. I obviously have never seen a photo, but then in the book, so that was a different part. So there's like almost a difference in the story. So in the book, it says that he was in the hot tub and he had the heads floating in there with him.
Ew.
So there's 2 different stories. I don't know what I've seen. The one on the documentaries is that he had them in each hand and was like, take my picture. And he was naked, like holding their heads saying, take my picture in the documentaries. She said that, so she blames it all on him. She's like, he was, you know, this mastermind. He wanted to kill them. This was thrill killing. He actually lawyered up from the beginning and was quiet and was like, he was so smart about it. He was like how we would, like if I was accused of murder, I would not say a word. And probably nor would you. You know, he called an attorney right away. He said that he was asleep in his car the whole time, and that she was in there just murdering and massacring these people. So yeah, so in the end, they got Erika got life. So it came out, so she ended up taking a plea. So originally they offered her a plea to turn on him, and she took it. Well, then during her polygraph, you have to take a polygraph in order to have the plea go through. And she said, what did she say? She said, gosh, it came out during her pre-interview that she had actually stabbed Jeannie Crutchley in the side. Like, she had made her die. You know, she stabbed her in the torso.
Like,
and then
she finished her off.
Yes. Well, no, she was never shot. So that was
so
the
he
thing.
kept
Like,
missing. She was directing him and he kept missing, so she stabbed her.
Right. And so then Erika went on to get this snake tattoo in the exact spot on her own body. Yes, where she had stabbed Jeannie. So it was like they were the craziest people. So yeah. And then another like fun fact about this couple, they had snakes, like pet snakes. Like,
this is the most bizarre couple I've ever seen. I can't wait to see their pictures.
Oh my gosh. And honestly, if you can watch any show, like there's a forensic file. That's where I first saw it, because I've seen every forensic files. Like I used to watch this, and it's just, this has always been my favorite, like intriguing. Why, why would this happen? I want to know, just like Chris Watts, why would this happen? So, that's what I want to get to, is the why. But, they also had pet snakes, and their names were HIV and Hitler. So it's like they were just like really off the wall. Like
these two were like Sid and Nancy.
Yeah, like deviants, exactly. Like Sid and Nancy, Bonnie and Clyde, like what was the natural born like Mallory and yeah, they were like, but that's the question. Would they have been on their own? I don't know. So in the end, she ended up messing up her plea. Like she was going to basically pretty much get off, like not really do much time, probably not get off, but maybe do 20 years by turning on him. Well, anyway, during that thing, it came out that she stabbed her. So it kind of came out that she was the mastermind. Like she was the one he was the muscle, she was like, hey, she was directing like, hey, you do this, you do that. And he just kind of went along with it. She got life plus 20 years, and BJ only got 38 years. He was found not guilty on the murder of Joshua Ford. And the crazy part is BJ is eligible for parole in 2021, and Erika is eligible for parole in 2024. So they're he's up for parole like next year.
Wow.
I know.
So do you think that she'll get out?
I don't think she will, but maybe he will. I mean, he was really smart about it. Like I said, he didn't talk. The one crazy thing, if you can ever find transcripts about it or like trial footage, for somebody who's this big, bad Navy SEAL, his voice is extremely high. Like he sounds like a woman. I don't know. It's so bizarre to me. It's just a really weird case. It blew my mind back when it happened, because think about it, that was like before Lacey Peterson went missing, or that, and then the DC sniper was very interesting to me. So, and then Casey Anthony. So it's like we've had all of these very interesting cases. This was really the first one that I was like infatuated with.
Like it captured you. So you first saw it on Forensic Files?
I did, it had to have, because I don't remember it being like mainstream media. I think I must have seen it on Forensic Files. I think. I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna have to pull that up on demand.
Yes, it's actually on YouTube, the full episode.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You'll have to give me the link. I'll put it out so people can watch.
Yeah. And then the book it's called Cruel Death, and it's by M. William Phelps. And I'll send you that too. He's written a lot of like true crime books, but I read this one years ago just on like a Kindle or a Nook, and I don't have it anymore. But it was a good book. It's a deeper dive into like their childhood, more of like her parents wanting perfection, I think he came from like an abusive home. So I'm always interested in that. Like, where do you come from? What is it, nature versus nurture? So, and I think she was adopted. I think she was adopted by this very affluent family, and, you know, they gave her the world, but they also like expected perfection from her. So it's interesting. So was that like a rebellion for, you know, kind of being forced
Controlled?
yeah, I don't know. And then being with him, who was this kind of like bad boy. I don't know.
It sounds a lot like rebellion. So
yeah.
where did her parents stand in all of this? Did they make any statements, or did they go to her trial or anything like that?
I think they went to the trial. They weren't, I think they, you know, stood by her just like any other parent does in all these cases. Yeah, it wasn't, they were, you know, a lot of they were opposed to her getting married to him. Like, they were like, we'll pay for you to get an annulment, because she had only known him 3 weeks. So, everyone who knew her, it's funny because everyone who knew her in high school and in college were like, oh my gosh, I would never dream in a million years that she would do something like this. But then everyone that knew him from the Navy, they were like, we can't believe that he would do this or be involved in anything like this. So, you know, it goes
he kind
back
of came
to,
out like kind of scot-free a little bit and looked
yeah,
good. Came through with flying colors, all people saying good things about him and
yeah, and it
judging his
makes
character.
you, and it goes
Maybe
back
she was the
to,
one that was
right. But then so then the thing where I get hung up is, why did she call 911? Like, if she, so I always took that as, you know, when I read the book, I was like, she called 911 because she didn't want to she wanted out of that. Because think about it, if the cops would have shown up, the plan would have been over. Like, was that, like, did it just go too far? Did she not think that he would kill them? I see, that's what I don't know. Like, did she set that up for a thrill so they could have sex later? Or did she, you know what I'm saying? Like,
none
why
of
would you
this
call 911?
it never came out in trial.
No. I mean, I don't think they
I
ever
hate
addressed
when you
it.
don't get answers.
I know. Well, I don't think they ever like thought that deeply. Like, why did you, you know, there's so much that doesn't come out in trials. Like,
True. I guess we find out a lot from Facebook groups now.
yeah, and
You know,
discoveries.
everything is
Yeah.
spilled in these groups.
Yeah, like family members come for, exactly. Like, look at a crime like this. If we had, you know, even,
Oh yeah, people be all over it. You know, we'd know everything about every family member, and I mean everything
yeah,
you can imagine. So no,
yeah,
it's a very interesting case, and I do want to watch the forensic files on that. Is there
yeah.
any other shows that were done on it, like on ID or anything?
So I thought there was a Dateline. I'm almost positive there was, but or 48 hours or something like that, but I couldn't find that on YouTube. But if you just look up Sifrit, Sifrit murders, there's a true crime daily. They did a 4-part series on it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's there's like a podcast that's on YouTube about it, but it was horrendous. I couldn't even, it was like this husband and wife, and they were very slow talkers, and I really don't like slow talkers. And so it was very hard to listen to, and they were laughing, and I don't know. So I think it's an hour and 40 minutes long. I would not suggest listening to that one, but other than that, I mean, there's a ton of, so many videos, and it's just so interesting to see these two, because and like I'd love to see their prison photos now. And they did get divorced. I want to say it was 7 years after
We
the
can probably
incarceration.
look those up and get recent
Can
ones.
we?
Yeah, they do
Oh my
them.
gosh,
They
I
do
would
new
love
ones
it.
every couple years or so.
Yeah, would we have
they
to
update
find
them.
out where they're incarcerated? I don't know. We would just probably have to find out the
Probably
prison.
Google their names and find out what prison they're in. Yeah.
Yeah, because I looked just on Google and there's nothing. All it is just stuff from the trial. So I would love to see how they've aged, because I want to, you know,
I always like revisiting. You know, I was watching and I recommend highly. It's on Netflix, and it's like a season. It's not a season, but it's like a show. You know, where there's different episodes. It's not a movie, but it's called Trial by Media.
Oh my gosh, I watched it. Which one did you?
The one about the rape. The rape
In the
New
bar?
Bedford, Massachusetts. Yes.
In the bar.
Where
Yeah.
one in the bar, the girl was raped on the pool table. The guys
Yes.
cheered on. About 5 guys raped her. Yeah, and the whole trial thing. Well, so I was interested to see what these dudes looked like now. So I started Googling their asses last night, and they're on Facebook. And that poor girl, did you know she died?
She died. She went to Florida. And weren't they,
She died only 2 years after testifying.
Weren't they Croatian, or it was
They were
Hungarian?
Portuguese.
Yugoslavian. Okay, right. Yeah. That one was, I know.
So sad. And the movie The Accused was based on that story with Jodie Foster. Do you remember that movie? Yeah, it's based on that story. Yeah, it's an old movie.
That was such a phenomenal series. I loved
I liked that I liked the I haven't watched all of them yet. I kind of skipped forward to that one because it sounded more interesting. But
yeah, watch that one and watch Blagojevich, the one about the Chicago governor. Wasn't he the governor? Rod Blagojevich.
Yeah.
He was trying to sell Obama a Senate seat. I mean, that and Trump just pardoned him, which is crazy to me. But like just this, it was funny because Blagojevich just got pardoned in February, and then so that kind of got swept under the rug with coronavirus. So I don't know how we didn't hear about that, but yeah. So I would definitely watch the rest of those. Those were so good.
Yeah, definitely. We'll check it out.
Yeah. Well, so that was good.
Well, thank you for sharing your favorite case with us tonight.
Welcome. And thank you for having me on. It was so wonderful.
It was fun. All right, girl.
All right. Thanks, Jay. Have a good night.
Until next time. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.